Hey there, welcome back to Reddit XO, the best channel for Reddit cheating stories. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for more stories like these. Now, let's get into the video. Wife cheated for 15 years of our 35 a marriage. Got confirmation a few months ago. I wrote and cheated on and was instructed to share my experience here. So here's the whole tale. My wife and I had been together since we were 4 years old. Her father and my father were high school football teammates, and my father was the best man at her father's first marriage. We used to play together as youngsters and lived only 2 streets away. My family had an antique shop, and her family often attended the events. Lisa would tell me she had come to see me, and we would go around the grounds together. Her parents split when she was in 7th grade, and she moved in with her mother, so I only saw her at antique fairs with her mother. We continued to wander around with each other. We reconnected in high school, and she had a boyfriend. When she wasn't with her partner, she still flirted with me at antique exhibitions. So, when she ended her relationship with her boyfriend during our junior year, I asked her out. We were together for 3 months. She asked me to have with her, but I declined since I believed we should wait until we were married. I went home one night after a date at the fair since she claimed she was staying there. A few weeks later, she informed me that she had become pregnant after up with a carny. I offered to assist her, but she said that she would handle it alone and that she was not ready for a long-term commitment. We obviously had a falling out. We continued running into one another at antique exhibitions, where she would invite me to accompany her on her walks. She even began assisting my dad as a ticket taker when they began producing concerts. Despite having other lovers, my wife continued to flirt with me. After graduation, I went to college. My sophomore year, I bumped into her at home for Christmas, and she requested for a ride home. I drove her home and we spoke about it. She flirted with me again and wanted to be more physical, but I told her no. I returned home, and she phoned me a few days later. I phoned her a few weeks later to ask her to assist my mother as a ticket taker, but she said she couldn't since she had just had a kid. She motioned for me to come up. When I arrived at her place, I saw her and the baby. She said that she had always liked me but believed I was too good for her. We chatted and restarted dating. After a year of dating, she finally said that if I really loved her, I would have with her. I assumed that was okay since we were engaged, but then she informed me she was pregnant 2 weeks later. At the time, one of her male acquaintances asked my wife whether the children belonged to him. I felt it was a horrible joke, but after what occurred, I'm not so sure. We married, and I adopted her child. I assumed we had a good connection. Everyone believed we were a great pair, and her pals remarked she was blessed to have me to look after her. Her father died after 7 years, and we were going to a new state for employment. She contacted the same carny she slept with in high school and began cheating on him. She concocted intricate falsehoods, and once we relocated to the state, she moved in with him. We both consulted divorce attorneys, and I was effectively warned that I would lose custody of my children. He booted her out after 4 months because he didn't appreciate her lack of basic housekeeping skills or having to care for her children. We reconciled when she apologized and expressed her regret. She was pregnant with his kid once again. Everyone was kept in the dark about this knowledge. After approximately 5 years, one of her acquaintances began cheating on her spouse and introduced my wife to online services. My wife denied being on the sites, but when I discovered her email address and checked it up, she confirmed that she was on the site, but she denied having any relationships. She was simply there to talk about S&M since I wasn't into it. We relocated again, and I had various suspicions that she was cheating. When we were relocating again, she told me she was anxious and needed to stay with a friend. I told her she couldn't go and that I needed her assistance preparing for the move since we had to leave the following day. She kissed me, said she loved me, and then walked away. I discovered 3 months ago that she had departed to sleep with another guy. I completed everything, and we were allowed to resume our journey. I discovered another of her covert email accounts, and when challenged, she acknowledged to being on site but denied cheating. I urged her to open it and let me read it to make sure she wasn't just talking. She responded no, so I gathered my belongings and went out the door. Our youngest daughter ran up to me and begged me not to go, so I walked back inside. My wife and I attended therapy a few times. We had a quarrel 3 months ago. She confesses to spending 8 years on online dating services. I made a remark about how many guys she slept with. If it was once a year, it was 8 once a month. It was 96, and once a week, It was 416 men. She answered without thinking that there was just 2 people, not including the carny I knew about, so it wasn't too horrible. This is when I discovered she had abandoned me to sleep with a man when the family needed her assistance moving. She said she hadn't strayed on me in 13 years and that I needed to get over it. So I know that 2 of my 4 children are certainly not biologically mine, and perhaps a third is not biologically mine, and that my wife cheated on me with 3 guys over a 15-year period, and that these were long-term relationships that terminated due to our relocation. She says she hasn't cheated in over a decade. I had previously remained because of the children. I didn't want kids to grow up in a ghetto or without proper care. I performed all of the housework and cooking, tucked the kids into bed when they were little, and generally looked after them. Even though they are adults, I continue to assist them financially. They're all out of school now, so it's just my wife and me, but our youngest son, the one she had while cheating on her carny boyfriend, and his wife and children have moved in with us owing to the loss of his apartment and employment. I'm shocked she could do this to me when I was the ideal spouse. She even stated I was flawless, and when I asked why, she always answered, "I don't know." I suspected all along and remained, but now that I know, I want to go. She is the only woman I have ever slept with, and I work hard to build the fairy tale existence that everyone who sees us believes we have. All of this, though, is a ruse. I feel like I squandered all of my love and dedication on a lady who will just as easily find another person and never think about me again. Story 2. Is my partner emotionally cheating on me? We've been living together for 2 years and are honest about our phones and social media. I seldom check his, but it's not actually locked, and he doesn't get upset when I do. So here's a quick rundown of the past. We both like playing online games on our phones and computers, especially if you're experienced with games like COD/Valorant. However, he plays it more regularly than I do, and he is quite sociable with other players. One thing I've observed is that he trash talks male players and is more amicable with female players. He even adds additional females and often interacts with them, duo. He freely converses with them and taunts them. I don't mind since I'm present and can hear them. But one day, I saw him contacting one of the game's girls. The girls seemed indifferent, yet he continued texting her with simple greetings like hello or hello, and even inquired about her social media. The female didn't say anything and was obviously irritated by his persistence, so he inquired if she was upset and continued repeating sorry. He also followed her on Instagram. I grew enraged and we fought at the moment. He even rejected it, claiming that it was insignificant. Is that typical? I eventually forgiven him because he was upset at how furious I was. After a year, he asked a female he met on the game to join him and his real-life pals to play. He connected her to their Discord server so she may play with them on occasion. He also encourages his single buddy to approach the girl and flirt with her. But I did see one private communication with the chick on Discord. He presumably had a brief conversation with her. The girl said that she was drunk and playfully invited him. He inquired as to who was with her, and she said that it was her relatives. He said that he assumed she was with his partner, and the girl said that she is unmarried. Now, I know I'm not dumb, and when a man texts me and says something like your boyfriend could be furious, I know they're verifying whether or not I have or still have a partner. You know how girls' instincts are nearly always correct, but I just want to be sure I'm not mistaken on this one. I realize this isn't technically cheating, but I've heard of emotional infidelity. It could also assist if I receive some views from males. I'd want to hear your point of view. Thank you really lot.